Hello everyone to my second reaction video, and this is from socksfor1 this time. Finally he uploaded. Now let's watch it.
I got a little bit bored, so I decided to become the most ruthless assassin in the next 24 hours. A lot of things will go terribly wrong as we face the strongest enemies, craft the most powerful weapons known to mankind, and then I just want to learn how to do one single backflip. This is my idiot self, who somehow got sponsored by the brand new Assassin's Creed Shadows game that just dropped. So, thanks for the bag. Currently, I have no money, no levels, and only a toothpick to my name. But I'm here to...
Wait, is there gonna be socksfor1 friends in this video? I want to actually know. If there isn't, I hate this video.
change that because I'm on a mission to take revenge on the people who killed my father. That's right, I'm a girl with daddy issues who's gonna try to take down the most powerful gang in all of Japan. So, not only would they destroy me right now, I have no idea where they are. My first goal, find the nearest town and gather information, and most importantly, test out my current ability. And what better to do that than picking a fight with the biggest dude I could find.
Put it away, peasant.
Who, by the way, is carrying a weapon the size of a Toyota Corolla. The baseball bat is so strong, if it hits me, it will send me all the way back to the character selection screen. I had to be extremely careful to dodge all of his attacks just so I could hit him with my toothpick, which does negative damage, by the way. But that wasn't even the scariest part about this guy. It was that he was bald. After getting into dangerously low health, I had to take advantage of dodging successfully just so I could get a couple hits in. And then I fumbled probably every button press imaginable, and somehow I still won. If I struggled this hard against one bald guy, I cannot wait to see how worse things will get. Don't care though, because I robbed him and I got some new armor. Looting is going to be vital if I want to stand a chance against the gang that took out my father. I need to max out all my stats and become a unkillable demon before I even think about fighting them. On my way to town, I took out a bunch of low-life NPCs who were literally just existing. But then I came across some guy getting robbed.
We should slice your belly open for the insult alone.
You can always count on me, Toe Muncher, the sneakiest of them all, to help a random citizen out. Using my toothpick, I sliced and diced until there was nothing left. Now he can just go back to his family in peace. Nothing to worry about. Before I got to the town, I made a quick stop at my home base. Check it out. We got grass. We got trees. We got more grass. Couple rocks and a big straw house. I know, starting in the absolute trenches right now. But as I gather resources as the game goes on and I explore this never-ending world map, I will upgrade it to my very own personal castle. I made a fast travel hut which will let me teleport back here at any time. With my new look, I started heading towards the town near the sea where I could learn about the members who killed my dad. Since the whole map is open world, it's really easy to get sidetracked, and I found this interesting cave. I know, it doesn't take much to impress me. I went through a series of obstacles including swimming and jumping, basically free cardio. This game is really looking out after my step count. I guess it was worth it because I got my first legendary item that boosted my stats all around. I also learned my first new ability, which seems great for taking down enemies, and I made my way out. And man, what I would do for an umbrella.
They try to drown me!
Continue pressing on until finally I made it to the town called Sakai, where I can find out the names of who killed my father. Since it was so dark and hard to see, the only thing I heard was some sort of fighting going on at a temple, and there was an all-out brawl happening here.
Fight back! Fight back!
I decided I wanted to take them all out because I want loot, obviously, and to test out my new ability that I ended up missing. I guess I did the right thing because I made a new ally, this bald guy. Baldy thinks I'm a chill guy, and he told me exactly what I wanted, that I'm looking for this golden samurai. And to find his location, I will have to find the guy named the Executioner. He seems friendly, but how am I supposed to find one guy in this entire village? Simple. I'm gonna kill everyone in the village until I find him. Toe Muncher was back, baby. And this time, I'm starting with the guards that protect this place. I use them as test subjects for my brand new ability. Half their armor just disintegrated. On top of that, cleaning them up was quite easy with this brand new blade I picked up that leaves poison residue on them. Eventually, bodies were left on the street and the whole town was in panic. As Toe Muncher, the sneakiest of them all, was able to take all of them out one by one. And no matter how many people I took out, no one would tell me where the executioner was. This guy literally started running away from me when I brought up the name. I started just breaking into people's homes until I found someone to tell me where he is. This guy thinks he could beg for his life.
Where is the executioner? Where is the executioner?
It's okay. He will turn into a nice wall paint. Eventually, I learned that it was impossible to find one person alone. So I realized if I help people in need, I could recruit them into my army to help find people. I did this multiple times until I had a fleet of unpaid workers scouring the town looking for info about the executioner. This town named Sakai was so large, it had an entire port with boats and stuff. And whatever this is, like at this point, just shave it all off, man. I even found the cutest patootie patootie. With this huge new area, I just started drowning the guards and just leaving a trail of them on the street. It was looking like I was here for the long haul, so I took it upon myself to continue growing in strength. All the loot I've been getting, I've been selling to this vendor for money, which is great. I'm getting the bag. With the money, I was able to get a sweet crib in the middle of Sakai with my famous wall art on the side. I decided to take on the toughest people in town. That way, maybe my name would spread to the executioner. I mean, this guy right here was an absolute unit. Literally didn't even use a weapon, just his bare fist. I didn't even know a big guy could move like that.
How about you use your bare fist and smash that subscribe button?
Even though he didn't have the information I needed, it was all good. I robbed his entire crib. My ego was so large at this point, I decided just to take the toughest person on in the city, and that was a huge mistake. You know it's bad when there's a literal skull next to his health bar. I used my special ability, and I think that ended up healing him rather than doing anything. And his bodyguard took more than half my HP, so I realized that maybe I should run for my life. But I just got word back from one of my scouts that they found the location of the executioner. But turns out he's so strong that he would rip me apart even if he just sneezed. And that is not even the golden samurai we are trying to hunt down in the first place, who killed my father. I knew I had to get stronger, so I built a whole forge at my base, allowing me to upgrade my gear. Still not high level enough. I was like, I'm a pretty nonchalant guy. Let me take out this entire castle all by myself. Because, you know, the loot's insane.
What just happened there?
After all of that, I was finally able to get a legendary piece of armor, which had crazy stats, and it looked pretty chill. And with all this proper equipment, it was now time to fight one of the most feared men in the valley, the executioner. Now, this is a boss who can present himself. Had a whole crowd of prisoners and an audience to watch. The tricky part was not only the boss fight himself, but all the minions around him.
But you know me.
The sneakiest of the sneakiest. I was able to take them out one by one, completely undetected. But now, it was time to face the big dog, the executioner himself.
And it was gonna be a battle. This guy had more HP than any guy I faced, so I was just mashing every single button on the keyboard, hoping it would do something.
If I didn't have this brand new legendary armor, I would be cut into tiny little pieces. But once his armor broke and the poison really started kicking in, it was already game over. And somehow, after all the preparation we've done, I was able to take out the executioner, who had a message of where the golden samurai was at. Oh, and I guess we should also free the prisoners, but I would more just say under new management. I like how I wiped out all these enemies, and this guy does not care. He doesn't get paid enough to deal with it. Now that the executioner is dead, we started traveling to the location where the golden samurai was located. The only issue was that he was located in the most heavily protected castle ever built. But you remember Baldy we say from earlier? Well, he brought his entire army in to help raid the castle. It was just me and the boys rolling up to the golden samurai's crib.
We succeed, or we die fighting!
Thank you, Baldy, for the motivation, because it was an all-out war in here. It was my goal to clean up the snipers around the gate, and it was so much easier to help when I had assistance. How does it feel, NPC, to get double teamed? Doesn't feel so great, does it? You know, I was supposed to help out all these people fighting, but I realized, why don't I just go for the golden samurai right now? So while people were laying their lives trying to fight this whole war, thousands of NPC lives were being lost. I just snuck all the way around the base into like this Fortnite bush while the guy was just yapping away. This guy was just one of many responsible for killing my father, and I wasn't gonna let that slide. And now you're probably expecting a giant showdown, but I didn't even give him the satisfaction of a fight. I ended it right there and then.
You cut open my father. You left him to suffer, to die in pain.
It's what you and your kind deserve.
After all all of that, we finally killed him, but he was the weakest one. There were still many more we had to go through, including the leader himself. But after taking out the Golden Samurai, we got a sick new legendary weapon called the Death Whisperer. Obviously, I had to test it out immediately on these poor souls. And oh boy, this thing wasn't just brutal, it was straight up disrespectful. It doesn't just kill you, it embarrasses you before you die. And the finisher, it straight up forces them to do a whole Olympic level backflip before face planting them into the dirt. And here's the best part, I had no idea about its special ability until later. Back to the mission, I had to find this mysterious woman somewhere in Sakai. I started at my second home base, which, you know, still has my beautiful wall decoration. And I started exploring the city, see if I could find any clues. I met a lot of weird individuals, but eventually I found the guy I needed. This guy right here, well, he's gonna help me become Fancy. And you might be thinking, why do I need to be fancy? Well, apparently, the only way to find a woman with a gun is to sneak into a secret high-class society of the richest, most pretentious snobs on the planet. And supposedly, I'm too rash?
Oh, what's the money?
So, step one, we gotta get some rich people clothes. And guess what? The tailor was fresh out of those fancy smancy dresses because supposedly the pirates stole all the silk. Classic pirates, always looting the most essential things. Well, it's a beautiful day for a swim, so I'm about to show these pirates why I have a 5-star wanted level in every game I touch. The thing was, when I made it onto the ship, I found all the silk and no pirates. No pirates? So free loot, right? Wrong. Turns out they were hiding, waiting to blow me out of the water. So before they could do that, I infiltrated the other ship and tried to be as sneaky as possible. The thing was, I sort of still wanted to test out my new weapon, so I ended up going crazy. That at least until the big guy showed up. Oh, you think you're the boss? Nah, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. After making him regret all his life choices, I claimed the ship as my own and took all the fancy smancy silk. Now, I have two choices. Return the silk like a responsible citizen, or sink every other ship in the area. So I decided to be the nicest driver in the 7 seas. You would think with this huge, wide open ocean, people wouldn't get hit, but you would be surprised on who they give a license to. Eventually, I returned to the port, got my elite rich person disguise, and began my master plan to infiltrate the snobby club of the morally bankrupt. But having a dress isn't enough. Apparently, I also have to learn how to act fancy. Like, excuse me, I'm literally the definition of class. You know who else has class? People that hit the subscribe button. This next guy, he spent hours yapping about etiquette and how I needed to be more sophisticated. Naturally, I ignored everything he said, which ends up being the exact reason I have to fight an entire castle later on. But first, I was now officially invited to the Fancy People's Tea Party, where I would meet one of my father's killers. To prepare, I upgraded my base, my gear, and my patience, because apparently this woman is really strong and has a gun, and I have a medieval yo-yo. Let's see who wins. Now, the tea party was going great until I showed up. My grippers were out, and immediately the entire room hated me. This woman insulted me over and over.
There's something about you that doesn't fit. Peasant with a piece of earth or a cat with a silver coin. You stink of the countryside. Go back to your farm before you get hurt.
To top it off, one of these girls at the party was the woman with the gun, and I had to figure out who. And guess what? They all hated me equally.
I was unaware they allowed children at these ceremonies.
So naturally, I decided to kill every single one of them, starting with the meanest one.
Please, stay away from me!
Why don't I feel any satisfaction?
And I was so petty about it that I kept on loading my save back up just to kill her in different ways. After feeling the sweet taste of revenge, I finally figured out who the real woman with the gun was, and she knew I was coming. Now I have to break into the most heavily fortified castle in the entire nation, all because I refused to take etiquette lessons. Obviously, I gotta get stronger first. So what better way to train than hunting down some actual mafia leaders in the city? Remember that mafia boss who could kill me with a sneeze? Turns out there was multiple of those guys. And first on my hit list, a dude named the Grave Dancer. I don't know what kind of name that is, but Toe Muncher is about to put him in the real grave. Except, one strike took about 90% of my HP. And there's 2 of them. This is not even a boss fight. This is a war crime. I had to fight on negative HP, dodging everything, because one hit was basically a death sentence. After a very stressful battle, I took him down and moved to my next target. The next one I wanted to face loves fire, supposedly.
The Kabukimono set my home on fire
Okay.
just to watch it burn.
Sounds like a skill issue, woman. This guy was so smart. He set up his
Wait, everyone. Can I say something? I'm sorry.
Wanted to face Love's fires, supposedly.
The Kabuki-mono set my home on fire just to watch it burn.
Sounds like a skill issue, woman. This guy was so smart. He set up his camp all around with explosives. So I decided to fight fire with fire. This made it very easy to clean up the entire crew. This put me on a whole nother level, and I was finally able to learn special abilities that I can use against a woman with a gun. I felt prepared, but terrified that I had to break into the largest castle in the country, a fortress with multiple layers of security and hundreds of guards. And I knew the only way for me to get in was through stealth, where I would be swarmed with hundreds of guards. Now it was time. I had two choices: stealth or be an idiot. Guess which one I picked?
Ben Elliot.
Spoiler, I ended up fighting every single guard in the entire place. Luckily, I had this brand new ability, which let me swing my medieval yo-yo all around and delete multiple people at once. On top of that, I learned another ability that I could do multiple strikes on their back, making them incapable of striking back. And even when they could, it was usually too late. I made my way to the inner walls when I spotted the woman who was responsible for my father's death. She knew I was here, but I had to be careful not to give up my location, or she would...
So the woman with the gun, something that I use every day. She's the one that killed his father. Or did the leader kill his father with the horse?
snipe me from a distance.
Are you watching, little fox?
I did my best to sneak around, secretly taking out as many guards as I could, or even blow some of them up sky high. I had to do all of this without letting her know. That way, I didn't just get no scope. Eventually, after taking out hundreds of guards, I made my way up the castle, hoping I was gonna be sneaking, but I got caught immediately. Unlike last time, this was gonna be an all-out boss fight, but my opponent has a literal gun. I had to be extremely careful, as one shot would kill me instantly, but I could level the playfield with my ball of string.
Send you to your father.
She was talking mad trash, so I knew I had to pull out this special ability to finally finish the job. She was tougher, but still not as scary as the other people we will have to face. We finished her off with our signature move.
This is for killing my father.
But this war is far from over. From defeating her, we received another legendary weapon. Two knives that hit like a blender set. It's like a bajillion million damage per second. Naturally, I had to test them out immediately. And what better test subjects than the local patrol, who get paid nothing and just want to go back to their wife and kids. These knives are so fast that the NPCs don't even get the privilege of reacting before they are reduced to a speedrun attempt. So, before we figure out who is next on our hit list, remember how I said the castle was absolutely massive? I only explored maybe 5% of it, and the whole place is filled with loot. So, you already know I had to wipe out the entire zip code to grab every single chest. Everyone was evicted from life that day. But I was really looking for were these special samurai, because if I took them all out, I would get access to the grand chest on the top, a guaranteed legendary item. So, I did what I did best. Give all these soldiers a personal goodbye kiss on their forehead and tuck them into bed. After hours, I was finally able to open the grand chest, which has a legendary item. But it was actually worthless to me because my current armor was better. So I just slaughtered an entire ecosystem for armor that was as useful as paper. Love that. A new season rolled in, and it was time to reassess all my life choices. Who was next on our hit list? When I realized, what if we just go for the leader himself? Why waste time on the little minions when I could just ruin his career right now and win the game? The issue that you will see is that all the enemies here are extremely high level, and most of them one-shot me. I was no longer running around the streets of Sakai. Oh no. We have entered the Dark Souls section of the game. This was the big city, a brand new place called Kyoto, where the tutorial ends and your suffering begins. And this is where we were going to find the final boss of this game. The issue, every NPC here is cracked beyond belief. Every single enemy just one-shots me, like they've been waiting for this moment their whole life. It made sense though. This is like throwing a toddler into an MMA cage match. But this wasn't gonna stop me. I am nothing if not stubborn. At the end of the day, I realized I need to get stronger. So I did the responsible thing. I went back to destroy every mafia gang leader on our hit list, starting with the one that bullied us way back in the day. But now, we just one-shot him. All these mafia leaders used to scare me, but now they're just a way for me to get my XP boost. Even when they surround themselves with bodyguards, they thought they were safe. Spoiler, they were not. Killing enemies is one thing, but upgrading our base, that's a whole nother battle. It is not cheap in this economy, meaning I had to raid entire castles. I grabbed a whole bunch of loot and even got my first legendary face mask, which means I have the full set of legendary armor now. I'm looking way better than I did when I first started. At this point, I'm not even human anymore. Basically unkillable at this point. It was finally time to find out where the big bad, the guy who took out my father, was hiding. So I met up with my contact where this guy, well, me and him, we have some common ops. We wanted to help take out the guy I also wanted to take out. What an absolute W. Because not only does he know the location of this boss villain, he can help me sneak in so he can raid the castle. All I gotta do is talk to the son about how to get in. It's simple. All I gotta do is find some documents, and this will allow me to sneak in a rice crate.
You must first acquire documents that allow the cart past the guards at the temple gate.
Except I don't take orders from random NPCs. The issue was the papers were located in the same place where those guards one-shotted me. So I had to do some final preparations in order to get strong enough. I even maxed out my base the best I could. But now it was time to raid the place that would give me my papers. I tried taking out as many guards as I could until I have to face the mini-bosses. Even though I was stronger, this was the most health I ever had to face. Not to mention, a hit from this guy would also send me straight to God. And why is every single boss in this game bald?
Are you sure you want to fight me?
I would be mad too. Taking out this guy was hard. The rest, though, even worse. Not to even mention that every attack is lethal. Fighting one mini boss is already a struggle, but when you're dodging multiple dudes and a gun, it really becomes difficult. But I was able to take them all out in one swing. There was still one more. But of course, he had to call every person in the Eastern Hemisphere to come join him. But his fate, it was the same. Of course, clearing the outside is great, but the real nightmare was the inside. I was able to obtain another legendary chest for a piece of armor that I couldn't even wear. Turns out I cleared this so early that I just got armor for a character I haven't even unlocked yet. But we weren't here for the gear. We were here for the papers. So after seamlessly obliterating the entire palace population, I grabbed the most important item in the game. With the papers, I could now return to the man who can help me kill the leader. And just as planned, they stuffed me in a sack of rice and smuggled me into the finals boss palace. This was it. We have entered the heart of Kyoto. Everything we worked for was leading up to this moment. It was finally time to avenge my father's death. I played as sneaky as possible because this whole place was infested with guards. But I got a little too eager to reach the end goal, and I ended up alerting every single guard in a 100-mile radius. I panicked. I just sprinted to the objective, and it worked. But then I realized I probably should have just fought the guards, because now I'm gonna have to face the strongest character in the game. My character didn't seem to care though, because we were literally playing the flute before I would fight this man.
Who are you?
The boss battle began, and it had its own music. That's when you know it's serious. Not only was this the most cinematic boss fight, the whole place was burning to a crisp, because the guy who was helping me out was raiding the entire castle. But I was still in it. The boss battle was one thing, but the music just absolutely amazing. And there was many cutscenes mid-fight. This guy must have been a DLC.
You have been taught well.
Let me show you how well.
The lower his health got made him change his form completely. He was not only striking faster, but harder. And even after using my special ability, I decided to switch out my weapons so I could block his attacks better and hopefully rip him apart faster. But that just started another phase of his.
If I die, our country will fall. Mitsuhides cannot rule it.
Making all his attacks unavoidable and also more unpredictable. He sent me to the floor with just a single blow. But not forgetting what this man has done to us, I was gonna finish it right here and right now. And just as I was about to end it, some dude just came out of nowhere and slapped me. What do you mean there's another fight? Not only did I have to fight him, he ended up destroying me and pinning me against the wall. Long story short, I lost. But here's the plot twist. The guy we helped was the real villain all along. And this dude wasn't even the horseman we were after.
You gave the order to kill my father.
I know nothing of what you are saying.
Turns out, this dude lied to us and was actually the one who killed our father. We were absolutely flabbergasted. But on the bright side, we unlocked a new character to help us literally kick people through the planet and also discombobulate people in one slice. But that leaves us with the mystery. Who actually is the true final boss? And now that I became the strongest of all assassins, I want to see if I can do a backflip. I guess not. Well, if you want to see me grind through this nightmare for another 24 hours, hit that like button and download the game using the link down below.
Okay, that was the video, and that was pretty awesome. Now, goodbye.